What was Nigeria expecting? That they give person seat finish, like you will give somebody seat and you will say, please just hold it for me because that person is not good to go with the seat. When he's feeling comfortable, knowing the taste, you were waiting in the courts. However, the court dismissed, like according to the Aisha video I listed, she says that the way they were just reading the thing, it was just like a book. You understand, like something like a book somebody wrote. They were just reading it, blah, 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 and it was really like tough. She said she couldn't believe it. So now this new updates about it, like the way the court upload and dismiss and everything, you will hear it from these new updates. Hey guys, leave your comments because your comment is very important. Sometimes it's needed.
Kashim Shettima, who were present to witness proceedings. Substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act, alleged corrupt practices, and overvoting, certificate forgery allegations against T1nubu is forfeiture of $460,000 over alleged drug case and dual citizenship, the aspect of his not securing 25% of votes in the FCT, among other grounds that both men sought to nullify T1nubu's electoral victory. In its judgment, the court stated that Atiku and Obi failed to discharge the burden of proof by failing to state the specific polling units where electoral irregularities and overvoting, including multiple thumb printing, occurred. The court stated that the electoral body, INEC, isn't under any legal compulsion to collate results by electronic means as such falls within its discretionary powers. It also stated that Atiku and Obi failed to prove their allegations of certificate forgery, while stating that the case of alleged forfeiture in a drug case was a civil case, one which T1nubu was never prosecuted, convicted, or sentenced. In dismissing the case on 25% votes in the FCT, the court maintained that the FCT is like one of the 36 states of the Federation without any special status. On those grounds, the court dismissed the petitions for lacking in merits. The court had earlier dismissed the petition of Allied People's Movement, which was hinged on the multiple nomination against Kashim Shettima. With this leg of litigation now over, the petitioners are yet to decide whether they would head to the Supreme Court or not. But the Labour Party has, in a preliminary statement, condemned the outcome of the judgment, saying that its lawyers are reviewing the situation on the next steps to take. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the judgment of the tribunal, in quotes, with an intense sense of solemn responsibility and preparedness to serve all Nigerians, irrespective of all diverse political persuasions, faith, and tribal identities. President Tinubu, in a statement, urged, in quote, valiant challengers to inspire their supporters in the trust that the spirit of patriotism will now and forever be elevated above partisan considerations, manifesting into support for a government to improve the livelihood of all Nigerians. End of quote.
In the meantime, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, yesterday stated they are resolved to approach the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, to challenge the dismissal of their petitions against the declaration of Bola Tinubu as winner of the February 25 presidential election. While Atiku said he was heading to the Apex Court because he had lost a battle and will confront the war head-on and not validate what he calls mandate banditry, Obi said he would not relent in his quest for electoral justice because, according to him, the tribunal ruling is not coterminous with justice. As the Tinubu administration also marks its 100 days in office, Nigerians have been assessing the performance of the government in different sectors, focusing on the socio-economic well-being of the citizens. Some Nigerians who spoke to Arise News in Lagos expressed a mixed grill of opinions on the 3 months of the government, which has churned out a number of tough policies, including the removal of fuel subsidy, among others. To help us to bring greater clarity to the tribunal ruling, as well as President Tinubu's 100 days in office. I am now being joined from Ikeja, here in Lagos, by public interest lawyer GT Ogunye. Thank you very much for joining us on this Day Live, the Sunday Talk Show, GT Ogunye.
Dr. Abati, thank you for inviting me. I'm grateful.
Well, the ruling of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on Wednesday has generated a lot of interest. Part of it, one, the fact that the certified true copy of the judgment was not made available early. Many of the newspapers today lead with that, claiming that in fact the copy that first got into circulation was a copy that was watermarked T1nubu Election Petition Tribunal, and the T1nubu group has said, well, that was not the original copy. It just meant that it was their copy that they circulated when they got it. But the opposition lawyers have been saying, well, why did the APC get it before them? What do you think is the issue about this certified true copy? And the petitioners, the appellants, as they will eventually be, have they suffered any, disadvantage, damage as a result of the fact that it took about 48 hours for that, CTC copy of the judgment to come out? Beyond that, all of us, will be your take on the ruling of the tribunal. Many aspects of it have, become very controversial since that judgment was delivered.
Well, thank you. I'll go straight to what I regard as the prefatory issue, which is on the, furore that the electronic copy of the judgment being circulated, which was watermarked, have generated. Now, the impression I had when I saw that, even before the explanations started coming, was that upon obtaining a copy of the certified true copy of the judgment, same was watermarked and circulated. The impression that was created earlier on was that perhaps it showed that perhaps the legal team of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or APC had a hand in the writing of the judgment, and then that imprimatur survived, and so it was brought out like that. In their counter, they had clarified that the two other political parties, or two other political parties, or three now, had obtained their own copies, and that those copies didn't bear that watermark. And I think that should just be allowed to rest like that, unless there is a proof that something was fishy in the circumstances. Now, the delay in obtaining the certified true copy of the judgment is indeed a metaphor for the peculiarity and the challenges that election petition determination represent or pose. It is said that election petition is sui generis, it's the class of its own. Following the declaration of the results, the satisfied parties and contenders who participated in the election, who contested the election, have only 21 days to bring their petition. And in the ruling, which will go, or judgment, which we'll go into in a moment, there was a lot of happening on that. Indeed, it was on the basis of that a lot of the chunk of the case of the Labour Party, was struck out for being for being filed outside the 21-day window. Now, if you have an almost 800-page judgment, even with the best of speed, it may not be possible immediately to have that judgment delivered. Recall that while that judgment was being rendered, the counsel to the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, made a representation, indeed requested that that judgment be made available that night. And the presiding justice, Justice Samani, said, look, we are human beings. This may not be possible today, but tomorrow it will be possible. But it took longer than that. Well, the point I'm making is that as our electoral law is currently worded, the 21-day window, which brooks of no further insertion or amendment or whatever, is indeed not sufficient, in my view, for in a presidential contest to put all the documents and everything together. And you will see that in the determination of the petition, you see that some of the counsel tried to beat that by first filing the petition and then got the court to issue subpoena. And through that subpoena, they then sought to bring in a load of witnesses and documents, which couldn't be pled, not pleaded, pled in the petition. And of course, the tribunal rejected all that by saying that they sought to surreptitiously brought in those. In other words, we must understand that it's a tough call, and reading through the judgment, I saw that there was a lot that the counsel gave in trying to manage the best of a very tough situation. So it is therefore explicable that whereas the court had assured the parties that judgment would be immediately available, that judgment could not be made available at the earliest time the following morning, thereby eating to the 14-day period for them to file their appeal. And then the parties are now crying wolf. I think that the parties should understand that, and once they've gotten the judgment as of yesterday, post haste and with the best of speed, they should file whatever appeal they want to file with the grounds so that the matter can go forward.
Okay, GT, I saw you trying to teach English on the side there, trying to make a distinction between pleaded and pled. But these are two expressions that are used interchangeably. Common origin dating to the 13th century
Yes.
in English language. So,
Yes.
when you use plead or you use pled, both are structurally, linguistically, correct. But that's not my point. The other part of the question,
Yes.
which is...
I prefer the pled.
Yes, so yeah, it's a matter of preference. But it's
Okay,
it's not as if one is wrong
Yes.
or the other is right. In any case,
No, not at all. Not at all.
let me go back to the other leg of the question, which is, what's your take on the